Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RedOS series. Now, before this episode starts off, I do want to talk about something. So, I've recently lost the passwords to my main YouTube channel. So, I'm actually migrating now onto a new channel. The old one is called RedTech-Innovations or Abandoned RedTech-Innovations, something with abandoned, I don't know now. And the new channel is just called RedTech-Innovations, so nothing changes there. The ad, put it on screen, editor me, that is the RedTech coding. Not much, it's like a little change. I think it was RedTech-Innovations or RedTech-0 before, and I've now changed it. But this should be all for the beginning of the episode. Let's jump right into it. So, last episode we left off with this little installer program, which just, once you enter it's going to take every single, it's going to get a list of all files on the disk, and then just kind of copy them all over. Now, I did say that a problem I had with the system was that when you press I, it says like ROS libs to ROS libs, but what you do not get is that ROS libs, as shown in green here, is actually a folder, and you don't know what's inside. Now, if I go to ROS libs, you're gonna see that there's actually ros.nfp and graphiclib.lua. Last time we put the graphiclib.lua in there. That's just a library that I install. It's not on the drive yet. It is though that you won't need it when working with it. There's no reference in the program to it yet, so it's not needed. Now, ros.nfp is, if we open up a paint real quick, because .nfp always means it's CC Tweaked's way of making pictures. I know what the NFP is, probably like a joke to the NFT or something, like non-fundable token, but you know. That's just my thoughts. Somebody could back me up in the comments. Now, as you see, this was the thumbnail for the last video, and I'm going to make this the logo, which is going to appear on screen. I do have something planned for it, but I might do that in the next episode or this episode, depending on how far we get. So, anyways, back to the actual program. So, now that we're here, what we want to do is detect, hey, is the file I have not actually in file, but actually a folder. I made that sound like you were a small child and I don't have to tell you what a folder is. Anyways, so, to detect, is this a file, there's actually a little function, fs.isDir, which returns true if the file is a directory. What we can now do is create a function that then takes the directory of the file, not the file, the folder, sorry, and goes through it, checking for each, and repeats that process. So if it's now a directory, it'll do that again. So when it is a directory, it's going to call itself. Now, what we call this in programming is recursion. Some of you may know that. Recursion just means a function calls itself to solve a problem. So let's call this dir read, or no, it's too close to arrow read, so let's call it like directory something, or let's just call it recursion dir. Recursion dir with file directory, or not file dir, but I'm just gonna call it that, and want to do it right. Folder dir, and do I need anything else?
No,
I don't think so. I'll just add if I do. So what we're now gonna do is we're gonna again get a list. Let's call it file list again. File list equals fs.list. Not list, like list, and file dir, folder dir. I'm always saying file dir. So what we now do is, again, this for underscore I in pairs file list do, so setting up a for loop that iterates through the list, all items. And what we now say is, again, if, so we now get this, and what we now do is, if fs.isDear, then, and in this isDear I'm gonna of course do, I renamed this to file, for filen, so we don't get confused. File, then, and here comes the tricky part now. We're just going to do recursion dir with folder directory with the file dir and this little thing attached. So what this is going to do is it takes this given string, adds the file we have currently onto this string, so creating basically the already existing directory with this little divider already in there. Then with the file name of itself, which is actually a folder. And then again a divider, so we can do this again. And what this now will do is it'll just traverse it over and over again until it's done. Now, one thing that could be caused, but that's actually more in like compiled programming languages, is that, and smaller computers, is that you could run out of space. Like if there's no more space on your RAM to assign a function, it will error out, but that's nothing we have to care about, because first up, that's done by the Lua interpreter made by the mod, and at least Windows nowadays already takes up so much storage that you probably have like at least 32 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes, which will be enough, I guess. Although if you have 8 gigabytes, I don't know why you install Minecraft exactly. That's more like work laptops. Anyways, enough talking about work laptops and storage. So, now that we have our recursive function, what we're now going to do is maybe also mention something like print redirecting to directory colon ... and then again this little thing to show, hey, I'm now going to this directory, which is going to be super fun. Except for the programmer who has to make this entire thing, or the program who has to execute the entire thing. So what we now do is here file, so we now say, hey, I'm copying this like we do this. Copied file to like copied folder dir, and again not forgetting the dots like I did in the last video. Probably gonna show a clip of that right now. I see. I forgot a ... and to file. This should make sense, at least I hope. So we're gonna again delete the file at the destination. Actually folded here, because we have to, we also have to do mount path to show that, hey, from disk / whatever folder you're on and the file in that folder to just the folder you're in and the file. So it still keeps that. So now we delete this and we fs.copy, not copied, copy to mount path folder D file list. At least that should be it, right? Yeah, that should be it. And of course, okay, that isn't completely it, because we also have to do this and this, not false file, to say, hey, copy it to the main directory without the disk thing attached. And and under this folder to the file. Yeah, that should be it. Now we have to integrate it, which actually just means that I go here, and whenever you see this little thing where you sleep, oh right, I also want to like sleep 0.1 to get this cool effect again. So here I'm just gonna go like if fs.isDear file, then, and we're gonna real quick leave that open to this little thing. So now here, oh, I press, and right now I just had to cough, so I stopped the recording real quick to make sure you don't hear that. So now that we have this, we are gonna do again our recursion dir, and this time the file should be a folder directory with, of course, the separator, like the divider on here, because it doesn't automatically do that. This should be it now. Let's just, you know, hope and see, hope and see. We are right now directly on the directly on this one, like in the disk. Why am I? So that real quick reboot installs, and something went wrong. Attempted to concatenate blah 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 local file list, a table value, and oh no, did I say file list somewhere? Did I say file list? Oh, file. Yep, I said file list here, like a complete moron. Well, you can prevent many things, but not stupidity. Reboot, install. Ah, there we go! Copied. RedOS graphics directly startup to Lua. Okay, that's a bit weird. Why didn't it say like redirecting to whatever it just said? That's a bit weird. I did not expect that. I have no idea why that happened. And it happens again, so it's not just like a one-time thing, it's an actual error. So that means it becomes my problem. Okay, first up, spell checker. I see you're trying to like make me better at spelling, although I suck at it every time. Another thing that I have no idea why it happened is this. It should actually just said ROS libs, so I'm right now a bit, oh, this one. File, print, redirecting to directory. So let me real quick just get the API documentation and we'll debug this one together. Okay, we are back with the file right now here. I don't know if I just showed my editor, I might have cut that out. Get drive, open, delete, move, make dir, isDear returns whether the specific path is a directory. So we'll returns whether the string the path to check boolean whether the path is a directory. So, ooh, the probably why it isn't working is because of me having done a little oopsie here and doing this. Should work now. Replace, done, reboot, install. Redirecting to, ah yes, it works. Copied to, yes, it is there. Change direction to ROS libs, and it has the graphic library. Why is there no? What did you do to the NFP? Why is the NFP not there? That's weird. There should be an NFP in there. But it doesn't say anything about the NFP, nor did it copy it over. So what could have happened? Bug fixing with RedTech. Welcome back to the show. I mean, technically this is all the NFP is. It did copy over the graphics library, it somehow gave up what's trying to copy the other thing over. Let me real quick get one of my other programs, and then I'll debug this one real quick, because I might suspect what's going on. Okay, so I'm back. I really quickly got something, and that is my little program, get space data. All it tells me is how much space do I have left. So, capacity, I did ramp that up. We are at 10,000, what is that? Hard to read without the dots, but 1,000,000 bits. Free space, we've got 940,808 bits free, or not bits, bytes, I'm actually saying that wrong. Used space is about 95,192 bytes. So there's 94% is free and only 5.9192% used. So why is it not copying over the NFP? So it has to do with the program. There's no way it's otherwise. Mount path folder, dir2 folder, directory. Like, it's not there in the other computer, which definitely says that it's not like just printing commands overwriting each other or something. It isn't here. Is it like that NFPs are invisible to this one? Or is it because it's big? Let me real quick rename the ROS.NFP to ROS.NFP, like, oh wait, I have to actually, ROS logo.nfp. I swear to God, if this now doesn't work, and it doesn't work, great job, really great job. Let's try and get this one fixed. God, this recording is going to be so long again. Why could that be? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make that one a time lapse. Lapse. And, I'll see you once I have that figured out. Over about half an hour I've been recording, and then I noticed I didn't include any sound. It was just me talking and nothing else. Or not me talking, actually just me doing stuff, and it looks stupid because it didn't have the audio under it. Now I'm going to re-record this again, this time, but not recoding every bit. I'm just gonna tell you how it works. So now we start to get the graphic lib, because I couldn't get the NFP to just works. What I then did was just say, hey, we're now gonna get the graphic lib, and I'm gonna hard code the pictures in. So, maybe a controversial thought, but I'm gonna use os.load API. Now, it makes sense. Normally you would say, hey, use require, because it doesn't clutter up the global scope, meaning it doesn't deposit everything in a global pool, which kind of just makes things ugly for the programmer. But in this case, this is going to be here for all scripts of the RedOS, meaning putting it in the global pool just makes sense. So I not only add that to a global pool, but actually add OSUI, which is a pre-made UI for all scripts. That is from graphiclib.frame, and then init, which creates a little object called OSUI. or the object is called frame. I'm just caring about that I call it OSUI. What I now do is I get the logo. Now what I noticed is what I could actually do is just pretend like I copied. Like when I say redirecting to whatever this is, or copied this, what I'm actually gonna do is after this finished, I'm going to delete the entire folder from the original system and copy the entire folder over, which also gets the NFP file and doesn't skip it. Actually, there's one line of code there I still want to take out. That is this one. It's a little debug code and I take it out. So what I do next is I grab the logo and I use OSUI, which is a graphic lib frame object we created, and I load an image with :load image, which from the ROS libs folder, which we just downloaded, and the ROS libs folder, which we just downloaded, where I grab the ROS logo.nfp. I don't know why I just had that little mix up in my brain. I then create a sprite called logo sprite equal, and that is OSUI.sprite, which is a subclass of OSUI. Add a sprite to that. Give it no image. This is where normally a matrix for an image would be. The priority I set to nil, meaning auto assign. Now priority means that the higher the priority of something, the more things it can render over. Like if I set something to priority 5, what now happens is that it can now render over 4, 3, 2, and 1. But if something of priority 6 comes along, it'll render over priority 5. And all the named priorities. Now, priorities don't work like layers. They're more like a thing where this is a number that exactly says at what position the sprite is. Like if I set something else to priority 5, it's gonna override this sprite when rendering. Your variable will work just fine, but when rendering you won't see it because you overrode it. So then I made a little function called fade effect, which should make the logo fade in and fade out. Which fade effect, fade intensity, image, sprite, wait time. Yeah, I don't set that. Now what I do is I take an image and turn it into a color map. Now I know a map is normally a list whose index can be determined by the developer, but this isn't C++ or any other compiled programming language or one that makes sense, or I don't know. This is Lua and I'm doing it my way. So I'm just calling it color map because it sounds cool and it's kind of there on the table. Image color map I, yeah, just convert it into a color map, which is just like a matrix, but each position in the matrix, which a matrix is a two-dimensional grid of like lists. It'll make sense. There's like online documentations about it. You can just read them if you actually want to get into this. But each position in this list of lists is another list that has all the RGB values. Now what I do is I create a mask, which is just a rectangle, a black rectangle with the size of image and image 1. Then I do the same to the mask. I create a color map of it. I repeat that, do this. Yeah, just the same algorithm but down here and for the mask. Then I set a few variables like percentage and appear. Percentage is actually obsolete and can be thrown away. Now, now we have appear, while appear. So this is the fade in animation for each pixel on the color map. We are actually gonna add images to the color map. It makes sense. It'll make sense. We add a certain amount. Then we change the sprite to the mask, the color map. For that I programmed another function, turn color map to image, which just takes this list of lists that contains a list with RGB colors back into a list of lists that just contains like a color hexadecimal. So for I equals 1 color map to image 1 equals this. For j equals, yeah, it's just for loops again, creating an image and then returning that image. Not that hard. Now, I might have already spotted what could be the problem, but we'll get to that later. This is the disappear thing, the same thing but reversed. It also renders the sprite here, then waits for 0.2 seconds, checks if it's done, and repeats it if not. What we now gonna do is, that's actually it. Then it quits and it's done. It sleeps for another second and it's done. Problem is, what it likes to do is, actually when you execute this, it does nothing, then it does this, Christmas edition, I don't know, waits for a second, and then does the whole thing in reverse. Like, the whole reversing thing works. It's just a bunch of green, red, and brown. It's kind of Christmas edition of image editing. I don't know, it just does that, and I'm going to get that fixed, but that is for the next episode, because I've been recording way too long. It's almost 9 PM, and I also need to edit this, which will take me about another 2 hours, and I do want to upload today, so we'll see you in the next episode. Or, you know, maybe I actually make a short, or at least something that you could call a short, like a few minutes, where I just develop random stuff. So, yeah. Probably gonna go through the entire recording, see how often I said so, and update counters that have been shown in this video. And with that, I'll see you next time. Have a great day.